So imagine living the rest of your life on an island. Sandy beaches, a clean house, and absolutely no pollution, whether that's air pollution or water pollution, but I'll get to that later. Nothing stops you from waking up in the morning and doing whatever you want, whether that's going for a jog, a swim, or even hanging out with your family and friends. Now, this sounds perfect, right? Like I said, you can get away for the rest of your life. For a week, 10 days, as much as you want, because there are people, there are scientists, there are architects who have decided to create this kind of concept. But there's a twist to this whole island. It's all made of plastic. Ever since the 1990s, awareness for environmental issues has spread globally. For example, the UN's Unprecedented Earth Summit in 1992 at Rio that addressed to the world the behaviors and attitudes towards sustainable development. And thus, this adopted the Agenda 21 plan, a voluntary action to implement actions towards sustainable development. Or the Kyoto Protocol in 1997 that set carbon emission amounts to be reduced within the next 10 years. And not to mention Al Gore's An Inconvenient Truth in 2006 that addressed to the world with factual IPCC data the issue of global warming. Now, all of this is great. This helps us raise awareness. This helps us as humans on the micro and macro scale to think about what we're doing towards the environment, what our impacts are towards the environment. But how green really is green? What level of conservation satisfies our minds to think that we're actually saving the planet? The WIM, or WHIM, architecture firm in Rotterdam, the Netherlands, has come up with a plan to create what they call recycled islands. Now, I know what you're thinking. Recycled and islands. These two words sound pretty surreal when put together, but it's all about a new perspective. Recycled islands is a concept that incorporates environmental responsibility and sustainability with innovation. WIM has a vision to create man-made islands around the oceans of the world that are made of plastic and to accommodate life just like on natural land on Earth. But the even more unique and interesting concept about this project is to accommodate and embrace a habitable, comfortable, as well as luxurious lifestyle. This will all be achieved while achieving sustainable development as well. Now, to give a definition of sustainable development for those who don't know, it's a concept that allows where the present generation is able to use our resources and meet our basic needs without compromising the needs of the future generations. But like every project, you need resources and you need materials. So where will this all come from? In 3 of the world's largest oceans are 5 areas called ocean gyres. Now, these gyres aren't just any ecological or natural phenomenon, but they are filled with rotating garbage that builds up concentrations of waste every single year. Imagine the size of the UAE, right there. Multiply that size by 240 times, and you get the largest, most concentrated gyre in the world, the North Pacific gyre. So just imagine, 22 million square kilometers. I'll say that again. 22 million square kilometers of rotating garbage that's been used for not even a fraction of one's life, dumped in the oceans like no one's business. From an optimistic point of view, however, WIM has decided to take advantage of these gyres to achieve their objective of sustainable development. Now, the first intended project is the Recycled Park on the Nieuwmaas River in Rotterdam, the Netherlands, where it'll be a prototype and test of how this island will work. The process to this, there's a 9-step process that WIM has created towards how what the science is behind it. Number 1, gather all the materials from the gyres, whether that's any type of plastic. Then sort the materials into containers, bottles, and all different types of plastics. And obviously there's going to be small, medium, large. Then they'll shred these plastics, wash them, and heat them to get rid of the bacteria and all the contamination towards them. Reproduce them into the building blocks or the bases for the island. Then construct the base, then construct the plastic housing, the residential buildings, the commercial buildings, and whatnot they have included. And finally, you get the creation of land that gives a brand new economic value towards these plastics that were almost worth nothing when floating in the jars. In order to live up to its name, the recycled islands plan to reuse and recycle their own waste. Now, so far they haven't revealed, WIM hasn't revealed how they will be recycled, but we can see that hopefully they will create new or existing systems in order to recycle all the material. Over here we can see that they have built a plan to accommodate different habitats. So, for example, sandy beaches, seaweed cultivations, urban living environments, and agriculture and forestry. But what it all comes down to now, I've shown you the science behind it, I've shown you what the concept is, but let's take a step back, literally and physically, or figuratively, my bad. But if we look at small businesses with innovations such as WIM, they have hired contractors, they have their own scientists and architects. But we have bigger institutes, we have bigger firms. We have Google, we have Apple, we have Microsoft, we have IBM, just to mention a few. We also have private and public institutions such as Harvard, Stanford, Princeton, University of Cambridge, and not to mention many, many other more. So we can build something even bigger than recycled islands. And I'm not saying let's cover the oceans with recycled islands, but what I'm saying is let's create something that gives us humans the impact towards the environment and making something even better than recycled islands, helping us to sustain our resources for the future. Now, to end off, I want to compare the recycled islands to a very familiar island towards most of us, the Palm Jumeirah. Now, both islands embrace a luxurious lifestyle, or potentially embrace a luxurious lifestyle. But we can see that the recycled islands, as I mentioned, it's made of plastic. It plans to reuse and recycle its own material. Whereas the Palm Jumeirah, its base is made out of sand. It uses concrete to build its residential and commercial buildings. It has over 40 hotels, and it has thousands of residential housing, which is good. But if we look at the recycled islands, how efficient with their resources is the Palm Jumeirah? So just imagine, next time you go to the Palm Jumeirah, just imagine you can have the same 5-star hotels, the same lazy days on the beach on a plastic made of clean, processed plastic, and you wouldn't even know it. Thank you.